guys. My name is Brandon, and welcome to Audio Addiction. We have our good friend. I'm not going to say his name because he can say his own name and what he does.
Hey, I'm also Brandon Wildish, and I am a solo one-man band musician.
Awesome, awesome. So, my first question is how did you just start out as a musician? Like you said, you're a solo artist. I don't get too many solo artists on the channel, so I'm always curious to see how things start out, how things progress, and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. So it kind of happened organically for me because I was waiting tables at the time, and the restaurant that I worked at, they had live music going. So I asked the manager if I could have a shot one day, and it went well. And as it kind of progressed with that, because the places that I play only have room for one person to play, like acoustic guitar, but I wanted to expand on that. So slowly but surely, I started building a pedal board that allowed me to do some looping and percussive work and guitar solos and harmonies, and then eventually got to the point where I'm at now, where I've got a pretty cool one-man band shtick going.
Nice, nice. My next question is, since you are from the California area, what are some favorite places you like to play? Obviously, you said you played at a restaurant you used to wait at, but do you have any local venues that you like to play at?
Oh, totally. I mean, right now, I'm pretty lucky because I've got solid residencies throughout the week, and every place has got something special about them. But the places that really stand out in my mind is I play at the Irvine Improv
Nice.
on Saturday nights. Yeah, it's a great spot. It's got a really cool vibe, got a cool stage going. But I also play like intimate settings too, like Salt Creek Grill in Dana Point. And that's a little more low key, and it just allows me to do a different kind of vibe there versus this full blown energy thing that I tend to do at the Improv.
Nice, nice. So, my next question is, what are some of your musical influences?
Oh man, you know, I try to keep it across the board because every genre of music has something special to offer. But my dad, being a player, really brought me into classic rock. So he introduced me and helped me understand bands like Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull, just straight up beautiful rock groups. And then I also have an older brother too who introduced me to bands like Bad Religion and Fish and Dead Kennedys, and kind of got me into the punk scene a little bit. And just being a solo musician and playing at these different restaurants, I get requests for all different kinds of artists too, and I see which ones I can mesh with. So I get really have a broad spectrum with what I get to hear and cover as far as like top 40 stuff too. So I just try to keep it fresh, and I like to think that I try to borrow from a little bit of everybody.
Nice, nice. Variety is always good, especially when it comes to music, and you being a solo artist in particular. Um, that's always cool to hear. Trying to listen to different things like classic rock's obviously classic for a reason, and obviously other bands that you mentioned like Dead Kennedys, Bad Religion. They're all excellent bands. So definitely do have a variety to choose from.
Yeah, man, and it's like I was saying, they've all got something special to offer. Like Zach Brown band kind of mentioned, that he was drawn towards country because of the amazing stories that they tell, and I think there's a lot of similarity between that and killer hip hop groups like NWA. They've got something to say, but totally opposite spectrums.
Yeah,
So if you
absolutely.
can really just listen to that as a musician and be open-minded and really try to hear what what those pearls of wisdom are in each genre, it just helps you develop as an eclectic musician, I guess.
Totally, totally. My next question is, it's also pertaining to music. What have been some bands that you've been listening to more recently?
Oh man, so who have I been digging recently? I guess Hoosiers definitely up there.
Nice.
He's got a phenomenal voice, that soulful sound that he's got, and really unique take on his stories. And then I've really started to get back into Frank Zappa.
Nice,
You know,
Frank
I
Zappa,
was
great.
familiar with this stuff. Yeah, totally. But just listening to it with new ears, you know, because the idea is to always be progressing as a musician, and we can come back with a little extra knowledge that you have today, and hear groups like that, and just how phenomenally out of the box that guy was thinking. It helps you helped me look at it in a whole new light.
Of course, yeah, definitely Frank Zappa is a huge talent, and yeah, I definitely dig his stuff as well. But that's awesome. You said you did covers, so if you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh man, one that I do that doesn't seem to get old for me is "Comfortably Numb" by Pink Floyd.
Nice, yeah, that's
And
classic.
yeah, I just really like. I've been playing that one for years, and it's not one of those songs that just seems to get old for me to do. You know, so if I was stranded on a desert island and I could do the one song, that would be the one.
That's great. I mean, hey, Pink Floyd is one of the greats for a reason, you know.
Right, right.
My next question is also a fun one. What is your favorite food to eat?
Favorite food to eat? Huh. I haven't really thought much about that because, yeah, you know, I just don't really. Here's a weird thing about me. I don't have a sense of smell, and
Okay.
I yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's always been that way, and so I think it affects the way I taste things. I don't know because I don't know how other people taste, but you know, as far as I know, I think it affects the way I taste things because I don't really do the whole favorite food thing. Like I just like everything's kind of like all right, yeah, that's a
It's
that's
food.
a piece of fruit. Okay, great. You know, but it's all kind of like it's like all in the same category. You know, it's
Yeah,
like you got your fruits, you got your meats, and you got your breads. You know, and it's just working to get that fuel to keep moving on through the day.
that's that's definitely a first for me. I have not heard that, but that must be, somebody has to have a crutch to bear, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's just been so hard having this handicap as a musician and not being able to smell. Nobody knows the hurdles that I've had to jump
Oh
through.
man. My next question is, what are some of your favorite songs to play live?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I thought that's what your last question was getting at. Um, that's when I responded with the Pink Floyd one.
Okay.
But so yeah, that's definitely one. That's definitely one I love to play live, and I love to play songs that challenge me in different chord progressions. You know, Sting's amazing at that with some of the stuff that he does, or things where I can just rip on doing some kind of extended solos like
Of
guitar
course.
solos and stuff like that. So you know, along those lines, I can have a lot of fun with that song "Cheerleader" by Omi. I don't know if you know that one,
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with it,
but
yes.
yeah, you know, it's a fun pop one, and it allows me to have some fun with my loop pedal and go off on kind of like a fun, Paul Simon guitar solo-esque kind of thing in there.
Nice, nice. How long have you been playing
Yeah.
guitar for?
Oh, most of my life.
Most of your
Most
life?
of my life. Yeah, like I said, my dad was a guitar player, and so I've always had guitars readily accessible to me. And but I didn't really get serious about it until I saw on MTV back in the day, probably was like 12 or so. There was an interview happening, and man, Dave Navarro. It was Dave Navarro, and he said, it doesn't matter what a loser you are, if you can play the guitar and play it well, you're going to be cool.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me because I was a pretty big nerd in middle school and had kind of a tough time. So I was like, oh, I guess I can just start diverting my attention to this.
Yeah, of course. No, I only ask because I've been playing guitar for, oh, how long? It's been about about 10 years now, give or take. So,
Dig it, yeah.
yeah, so I've been playing for a minute, but I have another question. What's your you have? I'm assuming you have more than one guitar, but what's your
Yeah.
favorite guitar to just mess around with?
Oh man, that's got to be the one that I'm doing with my live gigs now. It's the Taylor T5.
Oh, nice.
It's perfect for what I'm doing. I mean, it's the semi-hollow model, and I mean it's Taylor, so they're known for that kind of rich,
Yeah,
earthy, organic sounds, the tones that they get. But the playability with the neck, I mean, it's got the playability of a full-blown electric, and and the pickups in it too resonate like an electric. But if I just want to do something straightforward, like oh, I don't know, like let's just go with like a James Taylor song or something like that,
yeah.
then it really picks up those earthy undertones. So that is definitely a guitar that I've had no buyer's remorse with.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, because I've seen them around, but I haven't picked up one myself because they are kind of expensive. But
Yeah.
I'll have to see maybe later down the line when I get older and have some more income. I'll definitely be doing that. Uh,
I think it's worth it, man. I definitely do.
nice, nice, nice. My next question is, if you could play another musical instrument, what would it be and why?
Oh man, I would love to be a violin player.
Ooh, okay.
Um, yeah, and I think the reasoning behind that is the emotion that instrument can convey. And don't get me wrong, you can convey emotion in any instrument, but I'm talking about the wide range of dynamics and the vibrato that you can do, and it just there's something about the violin that that I that really comes out to me. Like if you hear a great violin player, you're almost taking a piece of their soul inaudibly, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just more so than I've heard with other musical instruments, but maybe I'm just not listening closely enough. But that one really resonates to me, and I'd love to pick that up.
That'd be sick. Yeah. Yeah, I think violins, especially like stringed, those sort of instruments, they just have that sort of like, again, like emotional attachment to them. Like whenever you think of like,
Yeah,
especially like when you said that, like things like movies, like when you hear like a sad violin playing or something like that, that just makes you want to like, not it feels sad and stuff. So I definitely think they convey emotions uh the best for sure.
totally, man, totally. I mean, there's like a difference between hearing an instrument and understanding the emotion that they're trying to convey, and then hearing an instrument and having that emotion absorbed in you. Like now you have no choice, but you are going to feel what that instrument is playing,
Of
and
course.
that is just a whole nother level.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So my next question is, since you are the solo artist, what has been your most memorable moments?
Man, there's been some fun ones, man. And the things that stick out to me the most are the ones that are just kind of like ironically just silly, you know? Like they're not like awesome. They're just kind of like if you were a bystander, you would laugh at the situation.
Yeah.
But one in particular is like, and believe me, the list goes on. But the so I'm playing at this place called the Salt Creek Grill,
Hmm.
and and I'm getting a phone call right now too, and so I'm getting that beeping in the background. But I'm not even gonna mess with it because I don't want it to happen what happened last time.
uh,
But anyways, I'm playing at the Salt Creek Grill, and this guy comes up to me, and he introduces himself as the singer of the Scorpions,
oh
right? You know
wow.
that 80s
Yeah.
rock band. Yeah, and it really looks like him, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, could have been him, could have not been him, whatever. Introduces himself. He's like, hey, do you want to jam? I said, sure. He's like, okay, I've got my congos in the car. And I said, okay, I had no idea that you were going to be playing congos and not singing, but whatever. He brings his congos inside. We start playing, and this guy could not hold the beat for the life of me. Like, he was just all over the place. I don't know what it was. Maybe he wasn't getting a good feed from the monitors, or maybe he was just feeling a little too good in general, but it
Yeah.
just didn't work out, you know? And so we just kind of fumbled and muddied our way through the song. And yeah, to this day, I really don't know. I can't remember his name either, but to this day, I don't know if it was really him or not. But it was just one of those weird things, you know?
Wow, that's a very odd story. That is, it's definitely probably in the top 10 weirdest stories I've heard on doing this whole thing. That's definitely one of the weirdest ones. Especially just like you could have picked any band, but you said the Scorpions. Like that just seems a little odd to me. Um, but
I
anyway,
know, man, but you know, it was just a weird thing, and it was just the fact that the beat was like totally off and just all over the place. People were looking around, like, it was just one of those uncomfortable moments where it was just like, once the song was over, I was just kind of like, you know, okay, that's a wrap. Then we gotta
I
gotta move on, you
I
know.
couldn't even imagine like just being up on the stage and then that guy just like not keeping time and you're like looking at him like what's going on here like and everybody else in the crowd's just giving you like the mean stank face. I couldn't imagine that
Oh,
that type of thing would probably just bury me.
oh, dude, it was a weird crossover of emotions because yeah, at that it was a little uncomfortable, and at the same time, I had this shit-eating grin on my face because I'm like, I'm jamming with the singer of the Scorpions.
Oh my god, that's great. My next question is, in your opinion, who puts on a great live show, and what has been a favorite show that you've attended?
Oh man, so many good ones, dude. I really like. There's this group called the um oh shit, what is his name? You know what? I'm not even gonna mention that one. But I did have sorry, I did have an opportunity to see Mo back in the day, and they're kind of like this bluegrass jam band.
Nice. Okay.
And I love jam bands because of the journey that they take you on. You know, these aren't these jam bands like Fish, Mo, String Cheese Incident. You know, these kind of groups. They have the recorded albums. You know, and their tracks can last like 7 to 10 minutes. But when you go
Yeah.
to one of their shows, man, not only are you digging the vibe of everybody there, that is part of that culture that kind of is like live and let live, but they take you on a journey, right? And it is start to finish, and these tracks can just last what seems like an eternity. And you almost forget that, you know, we live in like a contemporary society. We have this expectation that songs have a beginning and an end. But, you know, there's fleeting moments when you see groups like that where the walls that were put up around music seem to dissolve, you know? So
Yeah.
that's becomes a gnarly experience, you know?
That's sick. I like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, cause I haven't been to like I've been to a lot of shows, but there's this one band that I mean, obviously I know Fish and they're just an iconic band, but one band I've been listening to more recently, but I've been a fan of a long time, the Deer Hunter. He does an excellent job.
Okay.
It's very like orchestral, kind of sounds like almost like a movie track. But his songs last for like an eternity, but again, it's it's cool because like he made he has five different albums out and then he has like a bunch of other albums and sort stuff like that. But he has these albums, they're act 1 through 5. 5 was released last week actually. And it just takes you on like kind of like a musical journey of the deer hunter who he's talking about, and that was like when you were talking
Oh,
about just
cool. So
jam
it's like
bands.
thematic kind of.
Yeah, it's very thematic. It's amazing. Like I highly recommend, even if you or any of the people who watch this, highly recommend checking him out. He just does an amazing job. And again, it sounds like a movie, like a cinema movie, like album, but obviously it's just music. It's not a movie, but I feel like if it was a movie, it would be excellent. So
All right, dig it, man.
awesome, awesome. So my next question is, if you could compile a dream tour, who would be on it?
Oh my God, man, you're giving me some things to think about. I would definitely have to go with not as far as having continuity and themes, but just people that I would idolize and
Yeah,
love to meet. That would be part of my dream tour. And let's just forget about the confines of still being alive too.
yeah,
But it would
totally.
be amazing to jam with Miles Davis, and
Yeah,
maybe that guy
totally,
could teach me how to relax and actually, you know, dig and seep into the music.
totally.
And then Paul Gilbert, that guy
Nice.
is amazing. He seems very down to earth, and he's a shredder, which I am not. And I would love to pick his brain on how the hell I even do that, because I'm more of like a David Gilmour player.
Yeah.
Not to put myself on his level because clearly he's David Gilmour, but I'm just more of that kind of soulful thing. So I would love to hang with him. And Greg Graffin, love to see Bad
Nice.
Religion, and I mainly because I think he's just a smart as hell guy, and I admire the fact that he's also a doctor.
Oh wow, I
And
didn't know that. That's sick.
yeah, he's a doctor of evolutionary biology,
Hmm.
and I think there's I have like this kind of affinity for educated musicians.
Of course.
I think um, Brian May is also like a physics professor or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I've heard that.
Yeah. So I would, and it's almost like you're talking about this dream tour, and really I'm just giving you a collection of people I'd like to meet and just sit Indian style on stage while they play music. You know?
Hey, that's
It's like,
fine
oh,
too.
don't worry, guys, I'll just be right over here. Yeah.
Hey, there's plenty of people that I would love to meet in terms of that, even like, more smaller bands, but even if we're talking about like large scale bands, like Queen is, yeah, one of those classic things. I grew up listening to classic rock as well, so
Yeah, man. And it would just be an incredible experience. And, on a much smaller scale, I know how invigorating it can be to play with other musicians. And it pulls something out of you that, that you don't do solo.
yeah,
Because I
totally.
know all too much about what it's like to just do the solo thing. But it's like you're literally having a conversation without words, and it just molds into this blended piece of art that is not entirely you, not entirely them, and it just becomes this totally unique thing. And if I ever had the opportunity to play with some of those guys, and it would just be amazing. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, totally.
love to see what came out of that. You
I
know.
I get the feeling. I totally get those feelings as well. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people that I'd love to play with as well. Um, but my next question is a fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Oh, okay. Favorite TV show, favorite movie. I'm gonna have to go with as far as favorite movie goes. Um, I Heart Huckabees, I guess.
Huh,
Yeah,
alright.
that was yeah. I like that one. That one's sticking out. I just recently saw it again, so it's kind of sticking out for me there too. But it kind of tickles my therapist funny bone, when I watch that stuff, and I just like the fact that you got a bunch of people with serious to their own perspective problems, and you get to watch it from an outsider's perspective, and you see just how ridiculous and where the gray humor lies in all of that. And I try to take that perspective on life in general.
Of
Just
course.
take a step back and just remember that there's a lot of humor to be had in all of this tragedy,
Yeah,
and
totally.
joy.
And my last thing is, tell them about your music, where they can find you. I actually posted your website as well as your reverberation. They can see it on the video. So um,
Oh, perfect.
I left links for that, and I'll also leave it in the description. But any events, new music coming up, pretty much, the time's yours, Brandon.
Well, thank you, man. My social media is all Brandon Wildish, so you can just type that in. Um, a list of all my upcoming shows is always up on my website, brandonwildishmusic.com. I am lucky enough these days that I am playing roughly 7 to 8 gigs a week. So if you got a free night, chances are I'm playing and you can find me somewhere. So feel free to introduce yourself and make yourself known, because I always love to meet new people.
Would you ever consider doing like a national tour? Because I know you're on the West Coast and I am on the East Coast. Is there any
Oh, dig
is
it.
there is there any touring possibilities in the future?
Absolutely. I definitely want to explore that as an option. So I'm going to do a little bit of crossing the T's and dotting the I's on the logistics of that, which would, I don't know if I would do it as a solo artist doing my whole looper thing,
Yeah.
or if I'd get a group of like-minded musicians together, So going to figure that out, but that is definitely on the table and it is something that I am exploring.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, Brandon, thank you for being on. Thank you for taking your time out. I'll make sure to leave links to check out all of Brandon's stuff. Always make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and we'll be seeing you on the next interview.
Brandon, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Have a nice day, man.
So did you like the video? Then make sure you subscribe to Audio Addiction's channel by hitting that button right over there. Subscribe to our channel helps you stay up to speed on all of our latest content. Speaking of latest content, you can check out a recent episode from our live weekly show right down there, as well as a recent album review right over there. And you can check us out on social media right over there. So what are you waiting for? Let's talk music.